She lost 100 pounds using a GLP-1. Were you nervous?
I was so desperate that I was like,
Could you talk about the side effects?
my hair fell out. I didn't feel good. I just was kind of like droopy.
Were you pretty open with people about taking it?
I got so much backlash.
If you have an unexpected gap in the medication of what you would do.
The food noise came back. I was very scared.
In the beginning, how was it compared to later on?
The issue is my skin was saggy.
And you feel like it helped with the skin?
It actually did a lot. Honestly, that part was amazing. Like, I love the microdose. I can do this in a healthy way. It really is an amazing product if you do it well.
Let's get into it. So Ashley, how much weight did you lose and how long did it take?
I took about a year to lose the weight, and it was about 80 to 100 pounds. And that does not include any time that I was pregnant. So the times that I was pregnant or newly postpartum, it was even more.
When was like the pregnancy to when you started losing weight?
Yeah, my youngest daughter was a year when I actually actively started losing weight. So I was, definitely over postpartum, and something just clicked where I was like, I really need to lose the weight. I'm not having any more kids. I can't really keep using like being postpartum or being pregnant or trying for a baby as my excuse. It is a legitimate excuse, but for me, I was using it as a crutch. So I was ready to get a little bit healthier.
You said it kind of clicked. Do you remember the date and why?
Yeah, so my friend and I had always struggled with our weight. She was a little heavier than me, but regardless, we were both overweight, not healthy. And we always talked about weight loss. We just couldn't really stick with it. I think we didn't really know the right approach to do it in a healthy way. We needed assistance. And she said, I have actually lost some weight by trying this new medication. Have you heard of it? And it was a GLP-1. And from there on, that's kind of when we started. That was like September, I would say 2023.
Yeah, and what did you try before?
So I tried everything you can imagine. I tried keto, I tried intermittent fasting, I tried one meal a day, I tried exercising like a crazy person. I tried everything short of actual medication, but nothing ever worked.
So when you decided to go and try out GLP-1s, how did you approach that?
I think it was kind of a desperation type situation where I was willing to try anything. And this was before GLP-1s were really popular. Now everyone's heard of them. Back then, no one had heard of them. I remember my husband said, I looked it up and you can get pancreatic disease. It doesn't look like it's very safe. There's not a lot of FDA research on it or something. But I was so desperate that I was like, I'm going to try it because I've heard things about weight loss and I want to be healthier for my kids, for myself. My self confidence was a huge thing that needed increased. I had pretty low self confidence and I couldn't really work out because I was so busy. I was so heavy that working out was really hard for me. So honestly, it was just desperation. I tried the GLP-1 and it started working right away and I was so excited.
Yeah, what GLP-1 did you try?
So I tried Mounjaro, and I wouldn't say what I did is necessarily right. I am a healthcare professional, so I will say that I probably give myself more leeway than I should and make my own health decisions because I've been a nurse for so long. Um, so I actually got a prescription online for the first month, and it was just like one of those online health websites, which I do recommend going to your actual PCP or provider, but I didn't do that. I went to someone online, and of course, they went ahead and they prescribed it. But I will say, after the first month, I did ask my primary care provider if she would write me a prescription, and she happily did. So she also agreed that it was good for my blood sugar control, and weight loss was a big one, even though it technically was a diabetic medication at the time.
And so when you first took it, were you nervous?
No, I wasn't nervous. I was just excited. Because the thing is, I figured if it Of course, worst case scenario would be like hospitalization, but it was FDA approved. So, worst case scenario is really it didn't work for me, and it did. So no issues other than like I did have a couple of side effects initially.
Could you talk about those side effects? I'm curious, in the beginning, how was it compared to later on?
Yeah, so it's been a journey because now it's been almost 3 years on it. So nausea was a side effect for me, which is really common. To be honest, I just got anti-nausea medication from my provider. Other than that, I will say fatigue was a big one for me. That's because I wasn't eating enough calories. I was like, I'm not hungry. I'm going to eat 1,000 calories a day. Well, that's not sustainable. It made me lose a weight fast, but it wasn't healthy. And then one of the most unfortunate side effects for me was my hair fell out. And I always had a lot of hair. Now I have a lot of hair, but at the time it just fell out in clumps. It wasn't, me being postpartum. It was just me not eating enough nutrients.
What did your diet look like when you first started taking it? Did you not change the way that you were eating at all? You were just eating less?
Yes, 100%. Not healthy food. I, once again, would not recommend it. I would wake up and then I would eat nothing until maybe like 12 or 1, which that's okay. But then I would eat like a slice of pizza. I wouldn't eat like, you know, a chicken and broccoli rice or like fruit. No, I just ate a slice of pizza or a bagel. And then I typically wouldn't eat anything again until dinner time, and then it would be a small meal of a regular average dinner, um, but maybe like 300 calories, if that. And then I would be like, okay, I'm good, bye. So I lost weight fast, but then I definitely had to like remedy for all those side effects, which now years later, like I know that, but at the time I didn't.
And so I hear people when they take these, they talk about the food noise cravings and they kind
Hmm.
of go down.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Oh, 1,000%. So I think that's what I had always struggled with is I almost the addiction, like, I had food noise, I wouldn't be hungry, but I was like, "Oh, ice cream sounds so good before I go to bed, I'm gonna have some ice cream." I woke up in the morning, maybe I wasn't starving, I should have probably had some eggs for breakfast. No, I would have, like, a bagel or 2 bagels. So when I took the GLP-1s, it got rid of all that, like, I would just eat enough to, like, satisfy me a little bit, and then I would be good to go. And I think it really is an amazing product if you do it well.
You had a decrease in food noise, but you kept
Mhm.
eating kind of these foods. Did you just not have
Yeah.
much nutritional education or
I think it was just a habit that I had. What is the sad thing is now it's been a couple years, but I have a lot of nutrition education. At the time, I think I knew in the back of my head, I just didn't really care. A slice of pizza sounded good, so I would have that. I would rather have pizza than uh, salad with chicken and I would still lose weight. So I was like, why can't I just eat yummy foods and I'm still losing weight? So it sounds great to me. I'm not going to try to like eat something that I don't really love.
I've heard a sense of taste changes on the medications. Did you
Mhm.
experience this?
Yeah, it did. The cravings were down. So that meant that a lot of the foods that I really like loved before, they would make me nauseous because you're not supposed to eat a lot of like greasy, fried, high fat content foods. And then things like ice cream, that would be my favorite food in the whole world. I just didn't have that desire for it anymore, or rarely. So it does change, which is nice. I wouldn't say I craved anything healthy per se. I just didn't really crave anything.
So when it came to improving your diet and eating more calories, but you weren't hungry, did you struggle with trying to get more calories in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a struggle even after I had kind of lost the weight. And part of it is a mental game, like, weight loss is so mental, is I would be afraid to eat more calories because I lost weight when I ate 1,000 calories. If I'm eating 1,600 calories now, am I gonna gain the weight again? It was scary to me, so I wanted to, like, keep that low weight diet, kind of like that '90s thin, is like what you strive for, and in the back of my head, I was definitely afraid to increase more calories, but What I did was lower the dose of the GLP-1 once I had pretty much come to my goal weight, and then that helps you eat a little bit more.
Okay. And that's what you're doing now.
Mhm, I am, currently.
As you're losing the weight with the medication, were you pretty open with people about taking it?
In the beginning, not really. I wasn't hiding it, but, they'd say, "Oh, you look great, you lost weight," and I would just say, "Thank you," and even if I had explained what a GLP-1 was, everyone was like, "I've never heard of that," at that time. But then I would get open with people about it, and I got so much backlash. I also live in a really conservative state where people are like, "You don't need any medications." This healthcare is different in general, has a different outlook than maybe, like, more liberal states. So I would have people say that, "I've heard really bad things about it. That's really unsafe, you're gonna get pancreatitis, it hasn't been widely researched." I got a lot of crap from people about it that were trying to be helpful, but, I know. And also I was a medical professional, like, I'd done the research and I was willing to take that chance. So, I was open and eventually, but what's funny is I can think of every single person that kind of, like, gave me crap about it and were like, "I don't think you should do that. That sounds really unsafe, blah, blah, blah." They all eventually ended up taking a GLP-1 to, like, get to their goal weight, so it was kind of like, "Okay."
Right. um, and so you're open about it now, much more than before. Do you still feel the
Yeah.
stigma with it?
I don't think so. I think because so many people are using it, even people that were at a somewhat healthy weight that needed to lose 10 pounds. I know people like that have used it just to get to their maybe like goal bikini weight. So I feel pretty open about it now.
And how did your day to day change with, did you change like cooking or shopping?
Yeah. So a lot of that was for me would be like meal planning at the beginning of the week and kind of plan that out. That was a big thing for me. And also, I stocked up on foods with a lot of protein in them. And sometimes that food wouldn't be necessarily just like chicken, but like protein bars, protein shakes, things like that, where I knew I needed to increase my protein. Not just because my body needed it, but also like my looks needed it. Like my skin was sallow, my hair was thin. I just needed more nutrients in my diet.
How long did you notice the symptoms go away when you started increasing your calories?
Honestly, within a couple days, within a day. And the reason I could really tell is because I wouldn't need to nap. And then on top of that, I started exercising pretty intensely. And the days that I increased my calories, I could exercise so much better. I was faster, I was stronger, I could go longer when I had those increasing calories. There was a huge difference for me.
At what point in your weight loss journey did you start exercise? How much weight had you lost by then?
I was at roughly 60, 70 pounds down. Most of my weight was gone. The issue is my skin was saggy. It was, I didn't feel good. I just was kind of like droopy. Or maybe that's just how I felt. And I'd also lost a bunch of muscle mass. So I was like, I need to get toned. I've done all this weight loss, but it doesn't necessarily look good. So I signed up for a gym class because they could tell me what to do, and all I had to do was show up.
And you feel like it helped with the skin?
It actually did a lot, and I think that partially was just time, like, the skin had to rebound a little bit. I think building muscle mass makes a difference, and not being so thin, like that '90s, like, chic thin where you don't weigh anything. I think there really is, like, a good BMI you should be at for your body, including, like, muscle mass.
How long did it take for you to start feeling like maybe the skin was improving when you started going to the gym?
From start to finish. Maybe 2 years. I feel like I'm at a good point now, where you can't really see much loose skin, and for me, like, my stomach still has loose skin, but I've also had 3 kids, so it's hard to say if that's from weight loss or pregnancy.
And have you done the classes this whole time, or did you kind of change it up?
I changed it up slightly, but I still always went to the classes as well. I've done a little bit of every class. I've done Legree, I've done Pilates, I've done my own, like, really into, like, weightlifting for a little while, but the one consistent thing that I always needed was a class. that where I had to go because I had signed up for that, and if I got away from those classes for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, I noticed that my exercise would kind of drop because I didn't really have the self-motivation. I needed to sign up for the class, and then it was like, "Oh, you're signed up, you have to go in the morning or you're gonna get, like, an extra fee or something charged to you."
Yeah, so it was a good anchor for you.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. If you don't know where to start exercise or you don't have a lot of, like, gym motivation, like, sign up for a class. There's 1,000 different classes out there. You can find one for your fitness level and just do that.
And at what point in your journey did you feel like, okay, this is working, this is gonna work?
The first week, I was like, I'd weigh myself daily, which also you don't necessarily need to weigh yourself daily because that just doesn't account for like hydration and sodium levels and all of that. But I did weigh myself daily. And I was like, oh, like 5 pounds plus down in a week. This is awesome, which I knew because I wasn't eating much.
And did you have any worry about losing access to the medication?
Yes, absolutely, especially in the beginning, because you couldn't get it in, like, like, compounded formula, I think it is, where, you do your own, like, vial and syringe or get it from a med spa. There was none of that. There was I'm not sure if Ozempic was out there yet, but Mounjaro was it. I was very scared that if pharmacies didn't have it in stock, that I would regain the weight, and I didn't want that.
What did it feel like when you went down to the microdose?
You're hungrier. Which also feels kind of nice. It's kind of like if you have a craving and you, are never able to get it. It was kinda nice to be like, "Oh, I actually look forward to dinner tonight," you know? But I can do it in a healthy way, like, I can have steak and potatoes. I'll just eat, like, you know, a half a steak and, like, 1 potato, and then for dessert, I'll have some fruit. I can do this in a healthy way. So, honestly, that part was amazing, like, I love the microdose because I can eat foods I like, I can enjoy food, I have room for healthy food as well, but I'm not eating 3,000 calories a day, I'm eating enough that is healthy for me without that food noise.
And so the way that food satisfied your cravings seemed to change. Like you said, for dessert, you could have fruit.
Yeah.
Would fruit have satisfied dessert before?
No, no, I definitely ate unhealthy, which I don't know why I kind of, like, got to this unhealthy place because I grew up in a super healthy family. I had always been a normal weight for my height and size, until I was in my 20s, and then everything kinda just went downhill a little bit in terms of, like, the weight.
So when you're losing weight and developing new habits, are they the same habits that maybe you lost earlier, or are they new, different habits?
Like, what new habits have I ingrained since losing weight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, a million times different habits. I mean, 1,000%. I typically wake up at like 5:30 AM, Monday through Friday, to do my workout, and that is a habit that I've done for almost 2 years now, maybe like a year and a half. So that was really life-changing because I'm busy, I have 3 kids, I work full time. Like a lot of people, I'm just busy, so I had to learn, well, you have to exercise, you can't use "you're too busy" as an excuse, so you're gonna have to find time for that in your day, and that for me, that was waking up early. At one point, I worked 13-hour shifts at the hospital, and I would wake up at, like 4 AM to work out, and that was extreme, but it was kinda something I had to do.
You woke up at 4 a.m. because it was something that you felt like you had to do.
Yeah.
Why is it different now where you have to do it and you're able to do it versus before when you were maybe heavier?
Um, well, when I was heavier, I was kind of like, it's a lost cause. Like, I'm fat. Like, I don't care. I'm not eating healthy. So why would I work out? Because I'm still going to, my nutrition wasn't there, which for me was the big issue was the nutrition. Then when I lost the weight and got really into the gym and was waking up at like 4 a.m., I was going extreme. I was like, I'm thin. I am going to be in the best shape of my life. I am going to do a complete 180.
Yeah. So it
Um,
was easier to do because maybe it actually felt possible now, like not
mhm.
wasted effort.
Yeah, not wasted effort. I was like, I'm looking hotter. I'm feeling stronger. I'm healthier when I work out. Like and I saw a difference in the mirror. But came to the realization after time that, oh, you don't have to work out 7 days a week. You don't need to be running 8 miles on the weekend every day, which I was doing. You can find a nice in between to where you still work out and have muscle and remain fit and have, a high endurance level, but you don't have to go so extreme to where your life is revolves around it.
When you started working out, you said it was you said it was difficult at first, right?
So it was really tough at first, and I went to a gym that was pretty high impact and high intensity, but honestly, it was fine. Like I struggled big time for the first couple months, and I just did what I could do, which I also recommend to anyone that's starting at a gym. Do not try to keep up with people next to you unless you want to. Just do what you can do because 1 hour of exercise is absolutely better than nothing. So even though I struggled for like a month and it kind of was embarrassing, to be quite honest, now I feel like I'm in good shape and can keep up with everyone on a normal amount.
How did you keep going knowing that you felt embarrassed?
I think I actually just enjoyed the exercise so much. The endorphins I would get from it were amazing. I liked that. I liked being by people in the mornings, where we were all working towards a common goal.
Do you think you could do your workout routine at home if you had to?
Yeah, I think I could. I think it's harder if you haven't at first started with like someone teaching you, which a lot of people already have prior knowledge, so that's great. But if you haven't been to like a class or a trainer or you don't know what to do, you should do that first. And then you can work your way to at home. For me personally, I just need the motivation to go somewhere.
Were you using food as maybe a coping mechanism for like stress and stress eating and emotional eating? And if so, how are you dealing with those things now?
I 100% was using it as a coping mechanism. Like I always have struggled with kind of depression and anxiety my entire life. And I think food was the way I coped with it. Exercise used to be the way, and I stopped and instead I turned to food. Um, and it wasn't healthy. So I apologize. Can you say the question again?
Now that you've lost the weight and when you're on the medication, you're not having these cravings, but I'm sure you're still feeling things like stress.
Oh,
Do you have different coping mechanisms that you have to use, or how did that work?
the main thing that worked for me was exercise. That is 100% my biggest coping mechanism. I still am someone who struggles with anxiety and depression. I always will. I think that's just part of my genetic makeup. So exercise really helps with that. And like food, I still enjoy, but I don't use it as a coping mechanism. I think because I don't have that food noise anymore.
How do you think it would go if you had to stop taking the medication now?
I think it would go better than it would have like 5 years ago, because I have healthy habits, and it was a big mental change for me. I work out. I know that I need to eat healthy meals. For me, it really works to eat 3 somewhat smaller healthy meals a day. Not a big snacker. That just is where I would spiral. So I think it would go better, but I do think I need the GLP-1 for the most part. I don't know that I could totally go without it. I think I'd probably gain back not all the weight, but some of the weight. Yeah.
So you're planning on being on it for life.
I am planning just to take it as it comes, but probably, yeah, to be honest. And I don't know if that's realistic, but for now, I'm happy, healthy, and I can afford the medication, which I hate the fact that it's so unaffordable for everyone because it's a very expensive medication, but it does kind of change your life.
It sounds like it has. And I think it's
Yeah.
important, are you happy and healthy? And that's the most important question. Yeah, were there any points while taking the medication that you thought maybe you would have to stop?
Yes, there were times when I wasn't able to get the medication at the pharmacy when I'd been on it around 6 months or so. That's kind of when it went crazy in terms of like people realized, "Oh, this is like a weight loss medication. I'm going to get on this." Um, it was hard to find. I would have to drive to like different pharmacies around my town to see one that had it in stock. So that is kind of when I was like, "Oh, I might need to stop this." Other than that, maybe with the nausea, there'd be times where I need to take a week off and kind of reassess or maybe take a smaller dose because I'm really nauseous and this isn't working while I'm at work and like feeling a little sick.
What was the longest gap you took between taking the medication?
2 to 3 weeks.
And what'd that feel like?
Yeah, the food noise does come back after a while, unfortunately, after about maybe week and a half, the food noise came back, and I did eat more, and then also, I think I gained a couple of pounds as well, so it was kind of telling like, "Oh, you're not really set to go off this."
So a week and a half for the food noise to come back. Was
Yeah.
it like gradual?
Yeah, gradual. Like, you kinda would notice like, "Oh, I'm eating dessert tonight. I don't normally eat, like, this big thing of ice cream, but, like, tonight it kinda sounds really good. I'm gonna have it." And then you'd be like,
Did
"Oh,
that stress you
actually
out?
gonna have." Yeah, it did because I'm like, "No," like, you know better, but you know what to do. It's just doing it's the hard part.
And how small is the microdose compared to a standard dose?
Maybe like a 20% of the dose. It changes in titrates, and you at first will be like, "I don't really know what kind of dose I'm supposed to be having."
What signals did you use to tell you that you needed to maybe adjust the dose or you were at a good dose?
It really depended on my hunger and lack of hunger and weight. Did I want to gain weight or lose weight? If I wanted to lose 10 pounds, I'd maybe do a little bit of a higher dose and I wouldn't be as hungry. And then if I wanted to like maintain where I was, then I would go ahead and have a smaller dose
And how often would you adjust your dose?
monthly, I'd say.
So you kind of got good at
Mhm.
like knowing how your body responds to it pretty well.
Yeah, like, "Oh, I can have an extra, extra little more in the syringe, not today," or like, I had kind of a higher dose last time that made me really nauseous, so I'm not gonna do that again, like, even if the weight loss stalls, I can't be nauseous, so I'm not gonna do that. And then I have tried different medication not a ton, but I have tried different forms of GLP-1s too, so I kinda found what works best for me in terms of the GLP-1s and what doesn't.
Yeah, what ones didn't?
Semaglutide didn't work as effectively as, like which is Ozempic, didn't work as effectively as, Tirzepatide, which is Mounjaro, and then they actually have a new medication that has, like, 3 peptides combined, so it's supposed to be the most effective, Retatrutide or something, Retatrutide. It works amazingly. I that out of all the ones I've tried, it works really well on a small dose. I took a average dose that the provider told me to take. I was nauseous for, oh my gosh, like a week. It was pretty yeah, it was not pleasant.
When you were losing weight, were there any unknown benefits that came out of nowhere?
I think mental health probably was the biggest thing.
Well, how so?
Yeah, a lot more confident, happier, just in general, because I think it felt okay in clothes. I could wear any clothes I want, not just, like, always wear clothes that would try to, like, hide my body. I could wear anything. Lots of energy and, like, being able to play with my kids. Like, I could race my son. I could play basketball with my son. I could, like, play soccer with my daughter and not be, like, huffing and puffing and out of breath, which previously I probably was without really acknowledging it. I no, could not have raced. Um, yeah, I felt like I my family could be like, "Do you wanna go on a hike?" And I wouldn't be like, "Oh, no, this is gonna be bad." I could go on a 6-mile hike and be okay. And then, as terrible as it sounds, people are nicer to you. It's it is terrible. I no way condemn this, but, um, you do get more attention and people are a little nicer to you. Women too, I guess, but, like, men you notice, and I don't know if that's, like, an innate thing or not, but I don't even know how to describe it nicer, like, they'll hold open the doors a little more, they'll ask if you need help when you're carrying something, just little things like that that you kinda notice, "Oh, when I was, like, a little fatter, no one would do that for me." So, it's sad, but it is real life.
Did it make you angry?
No, not angry, just kind of like, that's kinda disappointing." And I know I'm not alone in this. I've seen people on, like, Instagram talk about it, TikTok talk about it. It's a real thing,
It is.
is
Everybody I've
why.
spoken to on a journey has told me that exact same thing. When did you get your confidence? Was it after you lost a bunch of weight or did it happen kind of early?
I think I didn't get it till after I started working out because even though I was slender, I was skinny, had no muscle mass. So it wasn't till I still didn't want to wear a swimsuit. It wasn't until I started working out and I built that muscle mass. where I was like, "Okay, I look pretty good now." Like, you know, decent. And that's, I think, when I had a little more confidence. And I know I keep talking about exercise, but working out really helped my confidence a lot. I felt stronger, happier. If I can run, even 1 mile, like that's amazing. I couldn't do that 2 years ago.
Do you have a plan for if you have an unexpected gap in the medication of what you would do to stay on track during that gap?
I'd probably track my calories through my Fitness Pal a little closer. Try not to snack. Protein at every meal. Nothing crazy. I don't eat like 150 grams, just as much as possible.
And those long term health outcome concerns aren't of concerns to you.
I think me being 200 pounds plus as a 35-year-old 5'3", 5'4" woman would be way worse than me being on a GLP-1, in my opinion. It'd be diabetes, it'd be obesity, it'd be like a metabolic condition, hypertension, high cholesterol, all of those stuff. If I didn't already had them, they would be coming really soon. And I think being on a GLP-1 is better.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. That's great. Thank you so much for coming on
Yeah.
and sharing your story. This was so much
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Like Ashley, there are so many ways to create a healthy lifestyle to give you back your health. No single weight loss journey is the same, and each one maps out a new way that weight loss is possible. This guy lost 80 pounds in 11 months app free, and this guy lost 60 pounds in 6 months using AI. I'll see you in the next discussion.